call you on the Rashay Jones phone?
All right, how's everybody doing? This is a special edition of Hard in the Paint that we're about to do. Um, we should have our guests coming in a moment. They should show up about 1 o'clock. As you guys know, I come in early. I like to come in 5 minutes early just in case there's any connection issues or anything like that. What's up, Zach? Sharon, how you doing, baby? A cool meal. Thank you for tuning in. Um, so that you have a heads up. Um, the Warriors, Bob Myers, the president of basketball operations, will be coming in from the Warriors Instagram site, and that Instagram site has up to 18.7 million followers. So when they do tune in, our numbers are going to increase. So a lot of you, I don't want you to feel like you're getting watched out because you've been here, you've been with me, but this is a pretty big interview, and they have a huge following, and so it's getting ready to get crackling. And you know, like I said, I always come in a little bit early, just in case. But they're usually on time. They're pretty prompt, and we did some last minute calls and check-ins, and we should have a pretty good interview. It's not like I don't know Bob and Zachary. He definitely knows because he was unfortunately, we were at San Quentin together, and so we know how the Warriors, as an organization, feel about social justice reform, criminal justice reform, and subjects like that. And we'll get into a little bit of that today, but more to the point, I consider Bob a close associate, maybe even a friend in to some people, right? And so we're going to talk about that for the hour. We're going to get into his basketball history, his high school, collegiate, right? We're going to talk a bit about, how he transitioned over to the front office and became a general manager and whatnot, right? And what brought him to San Quentin in the first place. And then we'll talk about the uh, sports and social justice forum that he and I sat on together at San Quentin that was hosted by Dr. Harry Edwards. Yeah, Zach, you're not the only one listening at work. It's it's at least one other person on here listening while they're at work too. I figured they'll be tuning in promptly about 1 minute after one. They should be here in a second. And I definitely want to thank the people who are tuning in while they're at lunch, because that's great support. I definitely appreciate it. Uh, it's always good, to know that the type of person I was inside garners the support I get when I'm out here, you know, especially from good dudes like Zach. Zach is a good dude. He was a good dude when I met him. As far as I know, he's a good dude, and he's still a good dude, you know. And my boy Jerome is here, giving me the high five. A lot of people tuning in. How you doing? Bret Hart. I say I'm just waiting on my guest to pull up. And I just happened to be in a place today where the Wi-Fi is extra strong. The signal is banging all the way out right now. So we shouldn't have to worry about buffering and, people tuning out or anything like that. I'm over here in a really, really good spot. I'm at my mama's. See the model cars up there. Hey, what's up, Baker? How you doing? What's up, Slick? Slick, I think you, as the architect, probably can appreciate this in a way that nobody else can appreciate it. Because you can literally, you are the only one besides myself that can literally set up and say, who put this thing together? Who pulled Showtime to the side and talked to him and told him how to get this thing done? There's only one other person, right? That's you. What's up, John? How you doing, man? Thanks for joining. Right now we're waiting on Bob and company to tune in. Uh, I did get a call for confirmation, so I'm pretty sure they're going to show up, even though they may just be running late. Well, like I said, nobody knows it like you do. You was the one that actually, said okay. And people trip out when I tell them that it'd be hard for them to fathom. Like, he did what? I said, yeah, I listened to him. I don't have all the answers. Okay, we got the Warriors on the line. Go ahead and send a request to join the live right now, right? And we'll see if we can pull him in. I just sent an invite to you, or you can send one to me right now while you're sitting there. But yeah, Rick, there's very few people who can sit in your position and say what they have to say. Okay, here we go. Bring him in right now. All right, let's go live right there. Well, I'm hitting a button. It's one of them situations where we're gonna have to be patient real quick. Figure out what's going on here. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm trying to get this button to work because I'm pretty sure I got Bob Myers on the other side of this. Do it. Do it one more time. Request and send it again. Hmm. This is a first. Now I can see who can do it. All right, I'm gonna cancel it and do it one more time. Let's see what happens. Try to get this in here. All right, let's try it again. Now it should do it. Hmm. I do love technology, and it's working me right now. But we're gonna work with it because this is like the first guest I haven't been able to pull in. So let me send another request. See what happens. Okay, they're still invited, and they're trying to get in. Hmm. You know what? I may have to sign off and then ask to join. Oh, here we
All
go.
right.
There he is. That's what I'm talking about, man.
What's that? Is that San Quentin technology or what's happening?
You know what? I don't know what kind of technology that was, Big Money. How you been, man?
I'm watching Klay Thompson shoot 3-pointers. He's a better shooter than you and me. Let's put it that
Um,
way.
well, I used to be pretty good back in the day, so
Okay, well he's better than me. Maybe not better than you. You never played. You just
I so let me make sure that I let everybody know what's going on here so they can have a pretty good understanding because we're dealing with
Yeah.
yeah, it'll go in and out. It happens. It happens sometimes,
all
right?
right.
When we're doing these Instagram lives. And so
Yeah.
if it does, don't worry about it. It usually comes back in. I've
All right.
adapted to it. This is what I do now. This is what you and your this is what you and your cohorts helped me become now since I've been a free man. I have to adapt.
Yeah,
And
man.
so
I'd rather interview you, but I guess you want to talk to me. So
well, yeah, we're gonna, we're just gonna chop it up, man. Because I missed you in April when I came up because Wiseman had gotten injured, and
yeah.
so you had to leave out, so I didn't get a chance to see you. And I was like, man, okay, all right, I'll catch my boy later on. I did get to see everybody else that showed up to Quentin. But let me officially get started because this is an official live Instagram show that I do. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Aaron Showtime Taylor, and we are having a special edition of Hard in the Paint, my Instagram live podcast. Today, my guest is, as you can see right now, the president of basketball operations for the Golden State Warriors, uh, and my homie. We must put that up in there, right? Bob Big Money Myers. He got that name from me from coming up to San Quentin and putting up big numbers. 39. He averages 39 points and 30 rebounds per game, right? I still remember those numbers. And I'm thankful that he took time out of his busy schedule. We tried to hook this up a few times, and finally we got it. So I made accommodations in my time, and he gave me the opportunity. So we're going to have about an hour here talking on a couple of different subjects. And if it's anything you want to say before we get started, Bob, go right ahead. As far as an introduction, especially to my audience and definitely to the Warrior fans that are tuning in right now.
I'll show you. I'll show them Klay. They probably don't care what I say. There's Klay out my window. There's Wiseman shooting free throws. So that's probably what you want to see. See, Klay's deep. You're too far away, but way out there, he made a three. He's making another one. This is my office.
I see him out there about a free throw line right there.
Yeah, right. No, look, I wish I could have seen you when you came. You did a great job, by the way. Great job. My favorite part of that, obviously, I would like to shake your hand and give you a hug, but how great was it when was it Curry that came out there? And man, that might have been my favorite part of the season.
Hey, look,
I want to hear you tell that story. That's the only question I might ask some more, but that's my first question.
So when I tell the story, I tell everybody that I know that I've been away from prison long enough, because had I still had my prison mentality, Bazemore wouldn't have been able to sneak up behind me like he did. My spidey senses would have went off immediately, right? Somebody's coming up behind you. And he got me with the water because I'm standing there smiling. I'm standing there. I'm listening to Steph talk when he's saying, when you heat up the building, we got to cool you off. I'm listening. It's not registering. And then next thing I know, the water hits me. I'm like, oh, I've been out of prison a long time now, because normally I don't get snuck up on like that. So that was cool for that to happen. And it was just a cool experience in general. You know what I'm saying? To have the organization reach out and say, come on up, man. We know what your skills are. Come on up here and put them on display, man. That was real cool. The whole experience was, and I definitely appreciate it. Definitely.
Yeah, you were great. You were great. You earned it. You deserved it. And like I said, I mean, giving back is it's always better than receiving. So we're happy we could do it for you. Got to bring you back at some point too. We got to bring you back.
You don't want to bring me back in the position that I want. I already asked Ray.
Oh, you did? He's sitting over here. We'll talk about it later, I guess. Oh, I got you. I know what you want.
You know what I want to do? I want to put the headset on and call the game. That's what I want to do.
How about we do this? You're living down in L.A. now?
Yeah, I'm still in L.A. right now.
Okay,
right now.
Let's make a deal. How easy is it for you to get up here? Actually, I'll do that. I'll pay for that. So you're coming up. Let's get you back up for the game Klay comes back. You're my guest.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I appreciate it.
I don't know if you can work, but you can. You get in the bill. Because that's gonna be a good moment.
It'll give me a chance to put my Warrior gear back on again, because it's hard to wear it down here.
I mean the Lakers stuff. Just leave that in LA. But come on up. Raymond, we'll remember. We'll get you back for the Klay game. Yep.
I'm gonna hold you to that one. Okay, look, all right, let's get started officially, right? Okay, we're in the first quarter right now, right? So I got a jewel that was dropped on me, right? And I want you to expound on it a little bit. So in your high school days, you and Madman Mark Madsen used to go at it.
Yeah, he was funny story. He came to my high school. This was, the days of used to be you didn't really know who was at your high school. Mark was a year younger. Turns out I heard he showed up at my high school as a freshman, walked around the halls for a week. Nobody knew he was there. And then he didn't like it, so he transferred. Like, he left to go to another public high school called San Ramon Valley. Mm-hmm. And that sounds like no big deal. If Mark and I had been on the same team, we actually that would have been a good team. We might have had a shot. I don't know if we would have beat the O'Bannon brothers coming down from Artesia. You're LA neck of the. But we would have been probably one of the better teams that our school had ever had. But ends up he goes to our rival, and he hit the game-winning shot of my last high school game to beat him. Kind of right over my outstretched wingspan. My arm wasn't quite long enough. And that was it. End of story. Mark ended my high school career. So and then I actually played against him in college. He went to Stanford. I went to UCLA. But he was a tough player and great dude and good man. Good man.
He's definitely got a reputation for hustle hard, and I appreciated that. You know, because when it comes down to basketball, right, I'm an X's and O's guy. I understand the X's and O's, but I also understand those intangibles. The person that's willing to get down on the floor, the person that's willing to set that pick and roll, not just set the pick and just stand there and look at it. The guy that's willing to dive out of bounds and save a basketball, right? And so that leads me to this question, because you did win a national title after you lose to Mark Madsen with that outstretched hand, and then you end up going to UCLA with those same two brothers you just mentioned a minute ago. So, I mean, what was that trip like, that particular season when you won the national title? You know, what's it like bonding in a phase of brotherhood on something like that?
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, you don't realize. I was young. I was 20, I guess, around then when that happened. But when you play a sport, a team sport, the goal is to obviously win. And when you're I never imagined, first of all, should have played at UCLA. I was the worst player on the team. I got into a bunch of schools, Aaron, for academics. But the only school that wanted me for basketball was a school up here in the Bay, junior college, Diablo Valley College, PVC. So I could have played basketball there. That's the only coach that actually called me and said, will you come play? And I thought, you know, I'd studied and I want to go to a 4-year school. My basketball days are probably over. That's for a different day. It's a longer story, but I walked on UCLA's team, made the team. I had no business, but as time went on, I got a little better and better. In my sophomore year, the year we won it, people would ask you at the start of the year, how, like they do the Warriors, how are you going to be? What do you think of the team? And that was the only year, that and one other year with the Warriors, where I would tell people we might win the championship. Like we have a championship. And in effect, that journey of winning the championship started at halftime the year prior in the NCAA tournament when we were getting beat by 20 from Tulsa. We were in Oklahoma City in the tournament. And Ed O'Bannon, who's a quiet dude, real mild manner, was a great player, never said much. At halftime of the game, when I was a freshman, he picked up a chair, threw it across the locker room, said, I'm embarrassed. I can't go back to LA and show my face. This ain't never happening again to me. And for a guy that doesn't say much, the whole room was completely quiet. And from that moment on, and he could have left to go pro. He came back for his senior year and decided to win every sprint, win every drill, win every competition, and set that tone as a leader and a very good player. And so that year, Aaron, my sophomore year, we lost like 2 games. Number one seed going to, ended up winning it. And, you know, when you're young, you don't really know what that means. The best part about winning championships is not the ring. It's probably not, I'm not famous, but the fame that comes with it, it's the relationships where during COVID a couple years ago, we did a Zoom reunion of, that was 1995, so it's 25 years. To see all the mates and coaches, that's, championships hold you together, right? Like that's what the best part of winning is, because that bond is strong and it stays. That you could do a 50-year reunion, you could do a 30-year, 40. You see guys like with the Warriors, I'm going to move. Well, we're all going to 10 years from now, who knows what we're doing. But to have a relationship with those guys who win championships, that's what makes the whole thing special. That's what I remember. Just kind of when you win at the very end, it's a lot to take in. It's too much. You just can't believe it's actually true. And I think about that, and you know, just a great memory. Great memory.
Man, I know what you're talking about. My name is Aaron Showtime Taylor. You're here on Hard in the Paint with me, and I call him my homie. You know what I'm saying? This is my dude right here, Bob Big Money Myers. I gave him that nickname. Maybe he had it before, I don't know, but I never heard it. And it's gracious of them to for the Warriors organization to come in for this and for this interview and let me speak to my partner, because I missed him in April when I was up there. I was on Festus Ezeli's podcast, Rebuilding the Beast, right? And I asked him a similar question, and he kind of gave a similar answer, but his answer was more that 2012 season, right, when Draymond Green was drafted, he was drafted as well, and Coach Jackson was still with the organization. That same year, and like I said, he gave a similar answer that you gave. That same year, the Warriors as an organization started a tradition over at San Quentin with the yearly game. How did that come about?
I had heard from Kirk, Kirk Lake. What's his Captain Kirk? Is that who he is to you?
Captain Kirk Laker.
Here. I had heard about games in San Quentin. And I mean, at that point in my life, I was like looking for any game I could and any environment I could be in. And who wouldn't? I mean, I guess some people wouldn't, but I was kind of like, man, if I can go and see San Quentin and play basketball, I mean, that's unbelievable. And heard about it, talked about it. He'd already been in there.
Right.
He'd take the Warriors, take a group from the Warriors. And so, and I was fired. I was excited to go in there. And, look, I was in there in a different way, right? Like you were in there, and I mean, people say, "What's it like?" I said, "It's different. I could leave. Like I could leave.
True.
That's different. That's
True.
Different. Go. I could leave." Yeah, that's a hard one. San Quentin. I don't know what you got out of it. That's for you to tell that story. I know what I got out of it, and the thing that probably leaves me with San Quentin was one, Aaron, and I don't know what everybody did to get in there, but I got a lot of empathy for. Prior to doing whatever guys did, they didn't get the advantages of life that I did, right? I don't know that, but had I been, and I got to know some of these guys, and we're actually hiring one of the not for the job you want though, different job.
No, I know who you hiring and what you hiring him for, because he definitely told me. I said, man, go get that job.
Yeah. So the people I met, and you and I were on that panel, they're good people, and I said I got bigger jerks at the YMCA I'm playing against than these guys. I mean, these guys are respectful. Right. They play hard. And I learned how thin a margin it is from where you were come from to the mistakes you made or the opportunities you got or didn't get, and how quickly you can end up in a place like that. And not to judge people, really, right? Not to paint a broad brush of, well, you're in San Quentin, you're a bad guy. Or you're in San Quentin, evil. I mean, it humanizes things. Like, you walk in there, and for the people watching this, and obviously you probably told your story, there's not a bad, people aren't inherently bad. You're not born bad, but if you were to tell your story or somebody else to tell their story, it might have started with maybe my neighborhood wasn't very good, or my mom wasn't there, my dad wasn't there, or this happened or that happened. It doesn't start with I committed a crime. It doesn't start. So to me,
it usually starts with a small traumatic events along the path that lead up to that. And you're 100% right about the empathy that you formed, right? Because you kept coming back. Yeah. And you kept coming back to play basketball.
I don't know you, but you're you're a real decent person, like real from what I know, from my experience.
Right.
And just to see how I was proud. You came in and when Raymond told me, Aaron's going to do the game, I was like, well, I only know the Showtime San Quentin, that guy, that play-by-play guy. I wanted to, I saw how you didn't change who you were, but you had to tone it down.
Definitely.
That's a professional thing, right? Like that's when I saw you come from I'm having fun in the San Quentin yard doing something I love to now it's real. And so for me, I'll tell you now, but I was proud. I was kind of like, what a great story to watch you evolve, to watch you get a chance, just to get a chance. That meant a lot because you did a heck of a job here. And I don't know if people listening or watching, you did a really good job. And our players told me, hey, that dude's good. And players, they're a tough audience, man. If they don't like you, they don't pretend.
Those guys, hey, look, man, it was like, I came to get down. I came to get down. So get out your seat and jump around when it came time for player introductions. Them guys are jumping around like crazy. Hold on 1 minute, right? My name is Aaron Showtime Taylor, and this is a special edition of Hard in the Paint. Let me give a couple of shouts out to people who help support this show all the time. There's Colorful Pots of Hawaii. The Pots is spelled with 2 T's in it. They are definitely on my storyline. You can go and talk to them, and they do exactly what they say, Colorful Pots. If you're down here in the Los Angeles area and you need some plumbing work done, there is Drain Man His telephone number is 323-737-3194. He is definitely in my storyline as well here on my Instagram page. Go check it out. If you need plumbing work done here in Los Angeles, you can call up the Drain Man. And if you are looking for colorful pots of Hawaii, one of the individuals who I just talked about, the company, is a formerly incarcerated person. And what we like to do on Hard in the Paint and on Freedom Fridays is highlight the success stories of individuals who are formerly incarcerated and break the narrative that the media and the politicians like to come with and say that, you know, parolees are just waiting to do property crime, get back on drugs, and commit a horrible crime and come back to prison. That's not the case. That's a very small number of people. The majority of us, and I'm formerly incarcerated myself, are out here, productive members of society. As you see, I have a live IG podcast that I'm doing and other individuals as well. And so we have reacclimated back in, and I like to highlight those, and I like to promote those companies here on my show. Thank you for giving me opportunity. I'll do it again before we sign off with my partner right here, Big Money Bob Myers, right? Okay. You mentioned the social justice panel, right? And so I'm gonna set the frame for everybody. It's late 2017. Colin Kaepernick has been out the league for, I think, a season or two, and Eric Reed is still on the 49ers, and him and Louis Murphy from the 49ers, along with Robbie Gould and the president of the 49ers, come to San Quentin, along with Bob Myers. Dr. Harry Edwards from Berkeley was one of the MCs of the show, of the panel. And Bob told a story. Now, mind you, this is a very serious subject at the time because we're talking about sports and social justice, right? But Bob told a story about being in the locker room. You go ahead, Bob. Tell him what happened.
It's what all the black guys were laughing at me about.
You see, I'm laughing now, just remembering it.
Yeah. The best part is it's true. That's the problem. So, I was, I grew up in the suburbs, right? Mostly
right.
white, middle class to upper middle class. We had a couple black kids at my school, but not like, when I say a couple, I mean like 5 or 10 out of a lot. And I got to UCLA, and I was in the locker room, and it was myself and maybe one other white guy, so mostly black guys. And practice was over, and we showered, and guys got all next to their locker, on the ground. They got a big lotion. I said, "What are you guys doing with the lotion?" And they said, "Ash up, man. I got to put my lotion on. Ash up." And I was like, "Do I need that? Like, do I?" And it was one of those moments where for them, I got to be the guy that didn't know what the hell was going on, and they got to laugh at me. But the truth was, like, that's a problem, right? It's just like, I don't know something big. And then I said, we're talking about shaving. And I said, like, some guy was saying, like, I got to go shave. And I was like, I got an extra, razor hit. And he's like, no, bro, I can't use that. And I said, why can't you use this? He said, I get bumps.
Right.
And just simple life stuff, right, Aaron? Like, life stuff. And I'm learning, like, had I not been on that, like, I might have gone. There's white people probably watching right now. We mean ash up. Like, what does that mean? Like, so to me, and I sit there, and I don't remember that panel, and you can talk about it, but I remember looking out at the panel in prison and seeing who was sitting with who. And look, I don't know prison politics, but it's not necessarily prison, it's life. I said the problem is, I'm looking out here at the inmates, and black guys sitting with black guys, white dudes sitting with the white, and I'm thinking maybe you got to do that in prison. Maybe you got to do that. I don't know. But you don't have to do that in society, but that's still what happens most of the time. You go to a restaurant, like, that's, that's got to move forward in my opinion. Like, that, you got to start with getting to know some people.
Let me point something out to you about that particular situation and that person, right? I won't mention his name, but because of what you said and because of what you pointed out during that social justice forum that we were a part of, he actually, after that, started to become more of an advocate for change, right? and he stepped forward and became a leader for change inside of San Quentin, right? And it shocked a lot of people because he was a little more quiet and reserved before. And we all kind of like inside of prison, it's always self-segregation, right?
Yeah.
Where he stepped out as a leader after that, and he started making efforts, you know what I'm saying, to reach out and to create safe spaces and situations for people to actually cross those lines. And so right before I left, before the pandemic hit and San Quentin got shut down, I forget exactly what it was. I don't know if it was a talent show or something like that, but he gave a motivational speech on change, you know, and it goes in part to what you pointed out about when you go to society, this isn't going to happen like this. So it might be good to start changing the way a person thinks now, right, to prepare them to come out, which is leads me to another question I'm about to ask, and see, you know, if you would be if you could give your perspective on it, right? And it's more basketball related, you know, than anything else, because a lot of times people kind of we link up tribally when it comes to our teams. If you're a Warrior fan, you're not expected to talk good about any other team other than the Warriors. You know what I'm saying? If you're a Knicks fan, if you get caught talking about the Nets, you know, it ain't no telling what can happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So with that being said, who was Bob Myers' teams growing up when we start looking at professional sports? You know, basketball, football, baseball, hockey. You know, who was Bob Myers rooting for? Who was some of Bob Myers' sports heroes growing up? Some of his idols.
Let's talk about the Warriors, because let's not waste time on the other professional teams. So I grew up in the Bay Area.
Okay.
And a big deal for me, Aaron, was getting tickets to the Warriors game, the Coliseum. That was a big deal for me. And my dad, we'd go to about 1 or 2 games a year, my dad and my brother, and we'd sit way up high. But the beauty of that is, if you don't know, you don't know. Like, to go into the game, I didn't even think about the people that I could actually ever sit close to the game. Like, I just was at the game. Like a lot of kids, you know, go to the game, you're in the building, you're at the game. And I remember watching, you know, that whole Joe Barry Carroll, Sleepy Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always, what I remember as a kid was like, winning championships is for other. And I missed the Rick Barry. You know, that 75 I was born. So that was the last time the Warriors were born.
I remember the Rick Barry days.
Yeah. I didn't see that. I didn't grow up with that. So I grew up with that, Joe Barry, and then Chris Maul. And I always looked at it like, we don't get to win championships. Like, that's not for us. It's kind of like a kid that grows up in a certain area, like, I'm never going to drive that car. Like, that's just not going to happen. That's how I was as a Warriors fan. And then I went to college at UCLA, and the Lakers were good. I mean, that was Shaq, Kobe. That was Magic, I think, at the end. They were dominant, right? And I remember I went to law school, and I represented a player that played for the Warriors, Antoine Jameson, because I became an agent after UCLA. And he was a client, and he was one of my guys I worked with. And he gave me this big Warriors hooded sweatshirt with the old emblem, the Thunder emblem, which they're kind of bringing back. And I'd sit in law school at night, and my buddy was a big Lakers fan, grew up in LA, big Lakers fan. And he'd always sit next to me, and it was night school, and he'd say, what are you doing? And I'd say, what do you mean? And he said, why are you wearing that sweatshirt? It's embarrassing. And I said, I know we ain't good right now. I get it. And he said, no, nobody even knows where that team is. Like, people don't even know it is. They don't know that's in Oakland. And I said, all right, yeah. And I said, I got it. I understand. And he said, listen, you can come be a Lakers fan. Like, I'll help you. I'll get you in. Like, you can.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like, come on board. It's great. We got Shaq and Kobe. We just win championships. Like, and I think they were, while I was in law school, I think that was like 99, 2000, 1, 2, 3. Like, it was dominant.
I think they went three-peat right through there. Yeah, the Pacers, the 76ers, and somebody else.
And he just said, like, get on, come on. And I said, listen, man, here's the deal. I don't got time right now to be a fan of basketball. But when I'm older and I got more time, like, that's when the Warriors are going to come back around. I said, right now I'm in law school, I'm working, I don't have time for this. And he said, listen, he goes, you're going to waste your whole life as a Warriors fan. You're going to waste your whole damn life rooting for the Warriors. And I said, listen, I hear what you're doing. I can't just change my team. Like, I can't just change. I mean, that's too easy.
Right.
Like, fast forward, like, I end up coming to work for him, and we get some players, and we end up winning. But to the earlier point of the story, Aaron, I remember driving to an NBA Finals game in either 15, 16, one of those years. And when you're in something, it's hard to pull back from it, right? It's hard to pull back from your life and say, like, appreciate it, be grateful. And so I was driving to a game, and I kind of had a moment like, shit, I'm driving to a finals game. And the thing that stuck with me was I used to come here as a kid. It was in Oracle. And I'd sit at the very top, and I'd be so excited. And I said, now I'm driving in to this game, and I can go anywhere I want. I can walk into the locker room. I can walk on the floor. I can pick up the ball. And that moment for me was kind of like, damn, that's how life surprises you in good ways and bad ways. But for me, it's always been the Warriors. It'll always be the Warriors. Like, that's my team. And so I know that hurts you as a Laker guy. I'm sure you know.
I'm not a Laker fan. No. See, this is where the evolution of our friendship really is going to evolve, right? Because the story you just told about with your friend telling you, come on, man, you can be a Laker fan, man. Nobody even know who the Warriors are. See, I had to deal with that all my life as a Clipper fan, right? Look at your face. And so here's the evolution, though.
Wait, can you just tell me how that started? Are you going to tell me how that started?
So I went to Crenshaw.
That's a bold move.
I went to Crenshaw High School.
All right, you and Chris Johnson, main folks.
When I went to Crenshaw High, it was Greg Bragg and Big John Williams was there. They were running the school then, right?
That hot plate?
Yeah.
Hot plate? All right.
Hot Plate Williams, right? So the first one of the first alums from Crenshaw was one of the first stars for the Clippers, Marcus Johnson.
Oh yeah.
Catfish. So we just start walking it down from there, man. Look, this is my school. Everybody I know is a Laker fan. The Lakers are cool. I'm definitely not a hater of the Lakers, but I'm a Clipper fan and I'm a Warrior fan for two reasons. And I'm a fan of the Warriors for two reasons. One, the Warriors, like I said in the post-game interview, when Isaiah Caldwell, Cap, the referee, told me that you was coming into prison, he said, I'm going to introduce you to Bob Myers, man, because I think he needs to hear your play-by-play. And I said, who is Bob Myers? I said, man, that's the GM of the Golden State Warriors. Hey, get out of here, man. Ain't no GM from the Golden State Warriors coming into a prison to play basketball. He said, no, man, believe me, man, he's going to come play against the San Quentin Kings, the 40 and over team, was the first team that you came in and played against. And I'm like, man, stop playing, man. Come on, man, who you think you're talking to, man? You know, I'm hearing Showtime, Taylor. I could come up with a good Showtime story. This one is too much, right? He said, just wait. So the first weekend you were going to come in, the lead man on death row that was serving the trays got sick.
Yeah.
And I'm number 2 in line, right? So I got to stay there and do the work. And then you guys came in and played basketball. So after I get off work, they're like, man, you missed Bob Myers. You missed Bob Myers. I said, no, I didn't. Because if he came in to play that game, he'll come back in again. It'll be meant. And later on that year, that's when the tradition started. And it started taking place after that. But I want to back up on something, though, because you talked about the ship in 15 and 16, right? And it was around that same time that I think you did an interview with a San Quentin Warrior shirt on in the middle, post-game, in the middle of the championship.
Yeah.
Now, I know it was a few years ago, and I know you're getting a little older, right? What was the thinking behind that? Because I emulated it just recently when I was on with Larry Bill on After the Game. I wore a San Quentin King shirt for the interview so my guys in there could see that even though I'm out here, I haven't forgot about them. So what was the thinking behind you with Amy Bach in that interview?
Oh man, just the shine the light, right? There's a good story in there, right? To get asked about it, to show it, to kind of wear it. It's, people are fascinated by the myth of San Quentin. You know that, right? I'm sure you know. But what makes anything is the people, right? If there was bad people in there, I'm not wearing. I might go, might not. I might go once or twice. It's the people you meet. It's the life experience. And that I say we choose, in like you do, I do. We do all these. We make all these. We choose where we want to live, what we want to do. We choose how we spend our time. That's some of the best time I've ever spent. You know why? Because I remember those 5, 6 times I was in there. I don't remember so many of the days I've lived are not memorable, but I remember that time mostly because you get to see. It's like a human spirit in there. I don't know how to explain it. You were in there. There's like a perseverance. There's I don't know. There's something in there that sticks with you when you go. Now like I said, I could leave. I don't know what it's like to be there, but something about that place and the people just kind of stuck with me. And then I was kind of like, I want to show that it mattered to me. That it matters to me.
My name is Aaron Showtime Taylor. This is a special edition of Hard in the Paint. I'm sitting here with my partner, Bob Myers, the president of basketball operations for the Golden State Warriors. When I met him, he was the GM, and Kurt Lakeup was his assistant GM at the time when I first met him. Mark Jackson was the head coach, and I've watched the evolution of Bob, who actually came to San Quentin in the middle of the championships to play his annual game. Right. And that says a lot about him. That says a lot about the organization. And it says a lot about the dedication to everything that he's been talking about since we've been sitting here having this interview. I got two people that two groups I'm going to mention real quick again. Colorful Pots of Hawaii. They're on my storyline. They make pots for plants and whatnot. Very good work. You can see some of the pictures in my storyline, or you can go to their page here on Instagram, Colorful Pots of Hawaii. As well as if you're in the Los Angeles area and you need some plumbing work done of any type, Drain Man at 323-737-3194. You can go to my storyline and you can see the logo of his van and the telephone numbers there as well if you didn't catch it right now. Definitely support them. And if you know of any formerly incarcerated person who has an entrepreneurial spirit and they have a company, help them out. Help them out. Don't be afraid to spend your money with them, right? Because they're trying to do the right thing, which is what we're talking about now as part of the foundation for this interview and having Bob come in. Okay, I got a question, right? Because I've seen facial expressions that you've given during basketball games and post-game as well, right? And you don't really have a poker face when you get kind of upset about something, right? And the first game that the Warriors lost to the San Quentin Warriors, one of your former assistant coaches, who's now a head coach on another team in the NBA, was there in that game. Now, I would never tell this audience exactly what you said, right? But I know you didn't like losing.
I mean, I said about that, and that was probably the last. No excuses here, but I'm still hurt from that game. Like, I'm still trying to get back. Like, that was then. But people said, why do you care so much? I said, when you lose at San Quentin, they remember and they tell you about it. And I said, the problem is I ain't going to talk back to a San Quentin inmate. I'm not going to do that in the yard. I said, so the only thing I can do is win to quiet them down. Because, there was some home fans. There wasn't all worried. I mean, I don't know if it was half and half, but they weren't all rooting for us.
No, it wasn't half and half. It might have been. You might have had, for every one Golden State Warrior coaching staff fan, there was at least 6 San Quentin Warrior fans, led by Caesar McDowell. Led by Caesar, who, by the way, if you don't know, Caesar McDowell, he got released and he is the CEO of Unite the People. They just had Black Alan McIntosh on the phone last night, who is going back to court for resentencing now, right? So, programmed to score baskets should be coming home now. You already know that half man, half amazing Anthony Ammons is out, right? You know about Cuddy and the rest of them, right? And it's funny that I mentioned it, and I'm out as well, that this association, this relation, this friendship, whatever we want to put in front of the ship on this, is with you and me, and even with them, was forged in a place where most of my friendships were forged at over 26 years inside of prison.
You know what we need to do? Raymond's sitting over here. Let's pick a
Hey,
game.
wait. You better check with him before you say anything right now. You better check with the guru right now, because I can see him looking at you like, what you getting ready to say, Bob? Bob, what you finna say right now?
I have a little
now, Bob. Now, wait, Bob, wait.
I think what we should do is you can organize with Raymond. Let's pick
Look.
a game. Let's pick a game. Let's invite all those guys to a game. Put them in a suite. All those guys. Let's bring them all back to a game.
Let's do it like this. The game that Klay is coming back, the one you invited me to. Yeah. Let's make it that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't disinvite me, even though, trust me, I appreciated the invite. I love it, right? But if we're going to do it, let's do it right. Let's bring that San Quentin crew and get the suite, you know what I'm saying, and have the opportunity to meet everybody. Because when I went for the public address, look, Sean Livingston used to be a Clipper, right? Yes. I remember the game distinctly when he messed his knees up, and then when he showed up with the Golden State Warriors and he won a championship, I was proud to see a former Clipper win a championship, right? Yeah. When I was at the game, I came out of the bathroom. Now, look, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, Luke Walton, Willie Green, I can name a whole bunch of people, including you, that walked inside of San Quentin, and I just did play-by-play. Yeah. When I'm coming out this bathroom, and I looked, and Sean's standing there saying, hey, Showtime, your story is incredible. I'm like, oh, my God, it's Sean Livingston, right? I don't get starstruck. I'm Aaron Showtime Taylor. I don't get starstruck. But I'm standing there. I couldn't even talk, Bob. I'm like, And when I finally said something right, I said, you're Sean Livingston, right?
He probably walked away and be like, this dude, man, he ain't never going to make it. He can't even talk. Oh, but that's good. That's good. No, he's the best.
Hey, is he still with the organization?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell him I said, what's up, man? I can talk now. I'm not so starstruck now, but in that hallway when he called me coming out the bathroom, I'm like, it's Sean Livingston. Oh, my God.
No. We'll bring them all. You know those guys. I mean, we'll get it done.
All right, I can coordinate that with Ray.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I'm telling you, I know he's off camera, but I know he's looking at you like this right now, Bob.
Going like this. We're going to go over his head. We'll go right over his head. No, he's great. We'll get it done.
Okay, we're pulling up on the last 10 minutes of this right here, right? My name is Aaron Showtime Taylor, and this is a special edition of Hard in the Paint with my partner, Bob Myers, the president of basketball operations for the Golden State Warriors. So one of the reasons we had to put this off is because the draft was coming up, right? And the Warriors that went through the draft, like you just showed us at the beginning of the show, Klay is out there shooting on the court, right? I'm gonna ask you this question, and it's an abstract question, but it's kind of on point because we definitely have a large Warrior fan base that's on this show today, and they're filling up my question box, but I don't want to ask the direct question, right? I'm gonna frame it this way for you, because in 2012, when you drafted Draymond Green and Festus Ezeli, and I think it was somebody else too that you drafted that season,
Barnes,
you were in the process of putting together a championship, right? That I think it took two more seasons, maybe 3, to fully evolve into. So with that type of experience, right, I'm going to ask this question, right? What does it take to build a championship team, Bob?
Oh, boy. You know what it takes? It takes kind of some luck, talent, work, timing. You know, it's people, like anything, right? It's the people, human beings. I think, you know, Steph Curry, generational talent, Klay Thompson, generational shooter, and Draymond Green kind of making it all work. The beauty of a Draymond is, I talk about Draymond and say he knows how to work with talent.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, it's almost like a great director with actors, but he puts them in the right spots. He elevates them. He's an amplifier. So,
right.
So is Sean Livingston. So you get the right blend of people, and you can do something special. You just never know Aaron, if it's going to be a championship, but you know when you're looking at something and saying this group, something might happen here. Now, look at your Clippers teams, like they have had all that, and sometimes it just doesn't break your way. It's not because it's not built right. It's not because it's not the right people. It's not. It's just, you know, one thing in our sport is injuries don't wait for anybody. You get injuries and you're tough luck, right? So you got to be healthy. You got to be, but you kind of know when you build something, like anything, if you have a shot. That's all you can do is say, we got a shot. Now, we had some teams where we were favorites with Kevin and all that. We had some teams where the only way we're going to lose is if we beat ourselves. That's the highest level, right? You're kind of like, it's not about our competition, it's about us. That's hard to find. That's hard to do. Normally, you say our best against your best. That's usually like kind of the best you can get to. But when it comes down to it, Aaron, when you build something, my thinking, remove all the obvious stuff, and you want to find out who somebody is when you lose. You know, who are you when you lose? Who are you when you walk into your parole hearing and they say, not this time? Like when you walk back into the yard or cell, like who are you? Because it's easy to jump up and down when you get out and you're great and I love everybody. But what happens when you get bad news? What happens when you get cheated or treated unfairly? Who are you then? You try to find people like that. And if you have enough people around you that know how to lose, it's not knowing how to win. You win, everything's great. People you hate, you love, all of a sudden, you know, forget all the bad stuff. It's just great. But if you get enough people in the room that know how to lose, when we lost the year before, we lost in 2014 in 7 games to the Clippers. Your Clippers. I don't remember that series. First round. Game
I remember.
7. So we lost that game.
I couldn't walk around the yard for about a week. I was getting threatened.
1 week. So
even in San Quentin, I was getting threats that year.
So we lost that game, and as an agent, I had worked with and represented Jermaine O'Neal, and he was on our team. He was kind of the aging, wise veteran. He called me, and he was probably done. I think it was the last game he played, and he said, "Hey," he called me. I didn't call him. He said, "Listen, keep that team together." And I said, why? We just lost in the first round. He said, no, man, I've been in this NBA 15, 16 years. I've been in the Eastern Conference Finals. I've played with great players. These guys know how to lose. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, no, they took this hard. And I said, well, yeah, we all take it hard. He goes, no, trust me. He's like, I've played in this league a long time. He's like, I know what it should look like and what it shouldn't when you lose. It's the right guys. That team won a championship the next year.
Right.
And you listen to people, you get lucky, you get the right, you get the right breaks, you get this and that, you get the right coach. You know, Steve Kerr came in. And by the way, Mark was great too. Mark was the beginning of it all. And it all comes together. And sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't, but that's what you're trying to do when you put it together. You're trying to build a group that fits together. And it's really hard. It's very, very hard. I mean, I tell my kids, when we won in 15, I said, the last time we won it, I was 2 months old, or not even, we won in April or May of 75. I was born in March. And kids couldn't get that one, but 40 years, and I don't know when we get the next one. I mean, the 49ers are trying to get the next one. I mean, it's Oakland A's are trying to get Clippers are trying to get the first one. I mean, it ain't easy.
It took the Chiefs 50 years to get one, and I'd been a Chiefs fan since I was 4, right? Yeah. So, when I was 4, they won a championship, and then they turn around and win one when I'm 54. So, I understand that aspect of it, and the losing part really, what you just said about learning how to lose, right, is key because on whatever level, whether it's the NBA or the Prison Basketball Association, whatever it is, everybody's trying to win a championship. And when you don't, you have to have that right mix of individuals around you who can handle loss.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And I have as a coach, because I coached football and basketball inside of prison for years, and I have a saying that I use. It's called win with humility, lose with honor.
Yeah.
Right? When you win, before you go celebrating and you know, whatever it is you're going to do, you go over there and you shake the hand of your opponent because they were fighting for the same championship that you were.
Yeah.
And to become a champion, they had to beat that team. So you go honor them, right?
Yeah.
And if you lose, don't hold your head long because you were fighting for the same championship that this other team was. And you have to figure out what it was that made you lose and work on it and work to improve on that so the next season you can come back, right?
It's
And
a great story because people, when you lose, nowadays even more with social media and everything, what happened? What happened? My favorite answer to that question is, we lost Game 7 at home to the Cavs. What happened? What happened? They beat us. What do you mean? What happened? They beat us. But blah, 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 blah. No. They're good too, and they won the game.
There were some great shots hit at the end of that game, right? That you can't deny Kyrie Irving and his talent by saying, "Oh, you guys are bums. You lost." No, that dude hit a great shot.
Yeah. And look, do you have to like it? No, it hurts.
Yeah.
But you know what? You want to play in this game, you got to live with. You don't win every game you play. You know, that's what I tell people. My favorite part of this is I've seen a lot of the NBA. When you have done what we did, and most people don't get to the finals. You know, like look at the Clippers. I mean, 50 years to get to the Western Conference Finals, right?
Just to get to the look, it took. Oh my God, back in 1991, 92, we got knocked out by the Jazz twice, back to back. That's when the first round was best of 5.
5, yeah.
Right, and the Jazz had John and Stockton and Malone, and they had Jeff Malone and Man Mountain, Mark Eaton, and that whole team, Blue Edwards and them, and they knocked us out in the first round twice. And I distinctly remember paying my money to see that game on cable TV, and in the room holding my head like this. And that was just to get out of the first round of the playoffs. I was in prison when they finally got Lamar Odom and Darius Miles in them, and they, made it a year past. They made it a level past the Lakers. But again, they got knocked out, the Lakers and then the Clippers. So I definitely know what you're talking about on that level. My last question, though, my last thing we want to talk about, because I only asked for an hour, and I appreciate you coming on here, and I definitely want to, again, thank Raymond for making it happen and the organization for allowing it and bringing you on and just exposing the Warrior audience to me. And, hopefully, because this is the largest audience I've ever had. We're in the hundreds. I think I hit 150 one time. So to close out, I'm gonna go here, right? Me and Marcus Thompson, he came on hard in the paint the other night, and he and I spent 2 hours together just chopping it up about sports, right? And so for your fan base, for the Warrior fan base, right? Get a little bit more into Klay, and we'll close out on that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to, the team, when the team goes on the road, it's quiet in the facility, right? It's real quiet because the team's gone, but he's here. And for 2 years, it's a lonely deal. But I've gotten to see Klay work, and he's put the time in, and it will happen for him. And it'll be the best. We joked about you coming to the game. I hope you do. I think in my time here, maybe in any game I've seen, I believe this. I could be wrong. I think our fans will do this. I think when he's announced in that game back, in my life, that'll be the biggest ovation I've ever seen for a player.
I believe that.
I think that'll happen because of he's a unique guy because nobody doesn't like Klay. And I'm talking the NBA guys don't much like each other. They say great things. They don't like each other. A lot of these guys don't like each other. As peers, they say nice things. Privately, I don't like that guy. I don't like that guy. Everybody likes this guy. I said this when we found out the day he did his Achilles, Raymond, I spoke to the media. And I said there's 2 guys that people, I think, respect more than anybody in the league. I said it's Derrick Rose and Klay Thompson.
Truth.
And I said because of what they've been through and because of how they handle themselves on the floor. And they don't complain. They play the game. They love to play the game. They love to compete.
You can add Sean to that group, too.
Yeah, right. Sean, too.
Yeah, you can add him to that group.
Sean as well. Universally regarded and respected. Off the court, on the court, everywhere. And so he's to the people watching, and he's you be proud of his work that he's put in. He's doing it. He's not taking shortcuts, and we need him. We need him. We need what he brings. He needs us, and we need him. We need his voice. He's grown. I've seen him grow up. He's a real quiet guy when he came here. I'm lucky to be around people like that in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Him, Steph, Draymond, all the people, Steve Kerr, Mark Jackson, knowing all these guys. I'm thankful to go to work with them. And I feel as much as you love watching Klay, people watching shoot, just being like before I was gonna flip around. You know what he was doing after he was done shooting? You know what he was doing? He was throwing the football around on the practice court with Jordan Poole. So he's probably, if you pick like a Warriors Olympics and said we're gonna play baseball, football, basketball, badminton, he'd be the best one.
Bob, come on, he gets it honestly from his father, man. Come on, man. His father's all world. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. For those that don't know, Klay Thompson's father is Michael Thompson, NBA champion with the Lakers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And his mom, Klay's mom, was volleyball, right? He's a volleyball player. So he's
right.
But no, he loves life. He's just so. I don't know what I could talk about him forever, but I don't know.
Here's an interesting side note for you, right? So, do you remember when you came to San Quentin and I was calling those games? You remember the guy that was sitting next to me up there?
You have to. I know somebody. I don't remember exactly.
His name is Damon Cook. We meet me, you, and him took the picture the first year you brought the trophy, and three of us are in the picture together.
Anything or no? You just said you didn't get to talk. You didn't let him talk, did you?
That he's the best color analyst in the Prison Basketball Association that you could possibly ever have, because he knew when it was time for me to shut up, because he would jump in and get back and get right out the way, right? But an interesting side note, right? Him and Michael played together in Compton. They played high school ball together. Yeah. Really? And he would always tell me that, and say, I know his daddy. I know his daddy. I said, well, why don't you call his daddy, man? What you telling me about him for, man? He's like, no, I know his daddy, man. I'm telling you, man. It's always some type of 6 degrees of separation when we get into these conversations, man. Bob, hey, man, tell Ray sitting there next to you, right? I said, thank you.
There he is.
There go my dude right there. Look.
Right there. That's your guy.
Hey, Bob, thank you, man. I appreciate you giving me this time, man. You know what I'm saying? We'll see what we can do about that game when Klay comes back. I'm definitely going to hold you to it if it's just me, but I'm trying to get all my dudes up there.
Hey, when we play the Clippers, we'll get you tickets to that one. How about that?
You know what? And see, here's the crazy part. I haven't even been in the Staples Center yet.
You haven't been to Staples yet, huh?
No, I haven't. I've been working so hard down here, man.
You're going.
Look. I got hooked up with DJ Dents, who knows a cousin of mine, right? But I've been working so hard down here, man. When I got released, within 9 days, the Venice Basketball League called me up, right? And I went to work immediately coming out of the quarantine motel. And then the American Basketball Association picked me up 2 months later. Then you guys sent an email to me in March, and I show up there in April. And then right after that, I signed with the Women's Universal Basketball Association. So I'm calling games down here like crazy, you know. And what I thought I was going to have to do, I went and bought a little one speaker system with the microphone, and they like, man, you're not going to be able to call games during the pandemic. I said, I'm going to go find some runs, and I'm just going to do pop-up play-by-play around here until I get a street name for myself. But I didn't have to do that. There was a blessing being a part of the experience that you referred to, with you coming inside of San Quentin and me staying there, dreaming bigger than I'd ever dreamed before. Mm-hmm. And I'll close out with this. When we met each other in the chapel, in the hallway for the Sports and Social Justice Forum, I looked at you and said, that's my future employer right there.
Yeah. Hey, you're on your way. You're on. It doesn't happen all at once. I'm
building a nice, thick, potent resume before I call up Kent. Before I call Kent up and say, hey, man, I think I want to try out for the G League now before I go to the NBA. So I wanted to build a nice, thick resume first before I come up there. Because one thing I learned from you, one thing I learned from the Warriors coming inside of prison, and one thing I learned through the experience, you have to earn your way to something. You just can't have it handed to you on the plate. You have to earn it. That's something that you taught me by the way you said the experiences. I've seen I went back and looked at some of the old interviews that you gave, you know, post game and stuff like that. And the empathy that you spoke about had to be earned.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and so I took that principle and reversed it and said, then I need to earn not just his empathy, but I need to earn the respect of the league and everybody else by moving forward, by going back home and earning my way forward. And so that's one of the things I want to let you and the organization know, that you passed to me as a baton. And that's something, it's become one of my mantras.
Yeah.
Earn it.
Yeah. Well, you are.
Earn it.
And you did it. Like I said, you're on. I thought what you did for us that game was the beginning, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Look, because I got you on here now, there's about 5 other people I'm ready to call. You know, I had Bob Myers on my show, right?
Yeah. Hey, use it. Use my name. Yeah.
Listen, I fling names around here real good. I drop names real good, Bob. All right, y'all. My name is Aaron Showtime Taylor. This is my partner, my boy, Bob Myers, the president of the basketball operations from the Golden State Warriors. And everyone, you have been hard in the paint.